What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And tonight we got something pretty cool for you guys. But before we get into our video, first of all, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, why don't you do something for me? Why don't you go down here in the corner, hit that subscription button, and turn on that bell so you get notified when we release awesome content like we have tonight. Also, make sure you like the video and comment, share it with your buddies. So tonight, I wanted to jump up here and go over some of the things that I use to find fish in relation to mapping. And I have the privilege of being able to use Humminbird Solix units. But even if you don't have a high-end depth finder, you don't have a Lowrance HDS, or you don't have a Garmin or a Humminbird Solix or Helix, the principles that I'm going to give you tonight are still going to be applicable to you to help you find fish. And so we're going to get in here a couple key tools that I use to help me to find fish. And here's the first one. Here's the first one. And it is Google Earth Pro. Google Earth Pro. Now, for the longest time, I just used regular Google Earth, and it works phenomenally. But one of the things that you don't get with Google Earth is you do not get the ability to look at historical imagery. And you get that with Google Earth Pro. And so what I will do is down in the description, I will leave a link for the Google Earth download. You just download the program to your computer. It's safe. It works very, very well. I've downloaded on my Mac. As a matter of fact, for the video tonight, I was looking at a lake that I used to fish when I lived in North Carolina. And basically what you can do is you can begin to look at that lake, no matter what it may be, different years, which ultimately means different water levels. And so that is one thing that is really, really, important for trying to find those spots that in May, June, they're sitting in 12 foot of water. I live here in East Tennessee, and so all of our lakes around here, they draw those down. Watauga, South Holston, Cherokee, Douglas, all of those lakes get drawn down during the winter, somewhere between 15 to 30 feet. And so, as a matter of fact, and this is why I bring this up, this summer I was fishing at a pocket on Douglas where two little drains met. And I kept wondering why nobody was fishing that side, why that had structure. It wasn't key structure, because directly across from that were 2 points that came out with 2 clumps of stumps on each point. See, that's something that I didn't know was there. Now I know it's there. And there's actually a way for some of the guys who watch this later. You have Lowrance, Garmin, Humminbird units that you can use Google Earth to drop markers that will show up as waypoints on your unit. And that's another video for another day. For the guys who are watching this that use Humminbird Helix units and maybe Solix units, what I'll do is also down in the description. I will leave a link to Ken Smith Fishing. He did a wonderful job on explaining how to use Google Earth Pro and dropping waypoints so that you can go back and look at those spots when the water is up and on your graphs. So that is, that right there, that program is a really good program that's free, that you can use to find structure that may be different than other people are fishing. So Google Earth Pro. Number 2, and this one right here is one that I used last year, and then again I'm doing it this year. This is actually a subscription that you guys can use. For the longest time, I used Navionics mapping on all of my graphs. And then last year, I actually switched over to Lake Master mapping because they finally released my local lakes on Lake Master. But up until that point, I'd always used Navionics. Well, one of the things that I really didn't like was the fact that with Lake Master, you only have 2 color shading options. So you can either use green or red. And sometimes that doesn't allow you to see things that pop. And then, Navionics released their app. And the Navionics boating app is an awesome resource for you guys who you don't have a Humminbird, a Solix, so an HDS Live. You can still look at mapping on your kayak, your flat-bottomed aluminum boat. No matter what you're fishing out of, you now can utilize awesome mapping. This is one of my local lakes here, and as you can see, it pulls it up. And as you can see, I've got all the color shading in here. So now, it allows me to see things that might sometimes go unnoticed on the Lake Master. So for example, here, I'll pull this up. A lot of times what I'm doing is when I'm running Lake Master, I'm looking for a depth range. So we'll use something 30 to 35. Well, right here, there's a little high spot. I don't know if you can see this on this little point. It only comes up 2 or 3 feet, but on the Navionics app, that pops. And what you can do is, man, you can put this in a little mount, and it will allow you to use mapping. It'll use your GPS off your phone. You can see where you're at. So for you guys who maybe have kayaks or a flat bottom boat, the subscription is $15 a year, and it is worth every single penny. And the reason I say that is now I can sit in my bedroom at night, and let's say I'm going out fishing tomorrow, which I am, and I want to look at a lake. I can look at the Navionics map, and I can color coordinate everything. And now I can go fish that lake, and I have a general knowledge of maybe some offshore spots, so on and so forth. And the reason I bring this up is because one of my local lakes, the one that I fished a lot of tournaments on this summer, doesn't have a Lake Master map. And I traded my Navionics map for a Lake Master map with my father. So now I don't have a map for that lake. But now with the Navionics boating app, I have an awesome detailed map. And so now what I can do is I can get an iPad mount, and I can take my iPad, have it plugged in, and now I've got mapping. I can see, I can look around, no problems. So for you guys out here who you maybe have a kayak or canoe, and that's how you're getting out on the lake, check out the Navionics boating app in the App Store. That is an awesome tool that you guys can use to take advantage of mapping and finding spots that if you never looked at a map, you would not know that they were there. And even when you go by paper maps, for the longest time, I used a paper map. Those maps are not as detailed as the Navionics maps with the sonar charts. When you use those, it is detailed. I think it's 1 foot contour lines. So that is something you guys can look into. So, we're kind of jumping up here as we go. Another really good app, and now we're going to kind of bleed over more towards the guys who maybe have, nicer graphs. So now we're gonna bleed over first. We're gonna talk about the Lowrance, and then we're gonna talk about Humminbird. For Lowrance, they came out with the Genesis mapping and the C-map, and the C-map allows you to, use a lot of different colors so things pop. It's not as detailed as some of the other maps. Now let's just preface that. But CMAP actually has an app that you can look at. That would be a really good resource for some of you guys out there. I don't personally run Humming or Lowrance units, so I downloaded it, looked at it, and it just wasn't for me. With that being said, though, maybe if you're watching this, you have an HDS unit and you're using the C mapping in the App Store. Final one I want to talk about tonight is probably my favorite, and it's just because I run Humminbirds, and Humminbird has the Fish Smart app, and this app is awesome. And there's a number of reasons why. Number one is you can look at maps and you can draw waypoints, you can make routes, tracks. As you can see here, I'll pull up some of the maps that I own. I've got Cherokee, Chickamauga, Douglas, South Holston, Watauga. So I've got all the lakes that are pretty much around here that I fish, and even the ones that I don't fish, I have an actual mapping card for. And then guess what? So I'm going to pull up Watauga Lake real quick and show you guys how detailed and how much I love this app. And this is the reason why. It's just the detail of this app. And now I'm able to look at the same exact mapping that I'm going to look at when I'm on the water staring at my Solix units. Another thing I absolutely love about this app is you're able to update your units from it. So that's a really cool feature. And maybe you're sitting here and you say, well, I don't have a Humminbird unit, but I would still like to look at Lake Master Mapping. You can go up there, you can download the app, you can purchase an individual map. They range between $9 to $20, and you're able to look at that mapping and you can see some things. So all of these are awesome little features that you can use. So now I'm going to get into a couple of tricks, and I'm going to jump off here for tonight. When it comes down to tricks, number one, whether you're using the Navionics or you're using the FishMart app, it gives you the option to draw the lake level down, and that is a really good feature. So if you're going out on the lake and it's come up 2 feet, guess what? You can bump that up. And so now you can see that there's 2 feet of contour lines. And you can do that with both the FishMart app and the Navionics map. So those are really cool little tricks that you can think of. I use a very number of different sites because I fish a lot of the upper end of the TVA. I'm able to use the TVA app that tells me what the water level is, and I can go from there. One of the things that I try to look for is irregularities that aren't obvious, because those are oftentimes the places that aren't getting hit as hard. So that's another really trick that you guys can use. So when it comes down to the tools that I use on a week by week, month by month basis for mapping and map studying, is I compare the Navionics with the Lake Master Mapping. I look at Google Earth Pro, and basically what I'm able to do is before I even get on the water, I'm able to get a good understanding of what that lake looks like. And so hopefully these few little tips, maybe these few little tricks have helped you out. As I said, I will drop a link down in the description for the Google Earth Pro download, and also that video by Ken Smith Fishing where he shows guys how to use Google Earth Pro and drop markers that then show up on your graph as waypoints. Awesome video. If you guys get a chance, go check that out. Also, that's what I'll end this video with this. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Number 2, like the video, comment down below, maybe some tricks and tools that you use. And we have pretty cool few videos coming out next Friday night. This will be pretty cool. The first episode of the Pursuit series will drop. So we'll have no live stream next week. So look forward to that. It will be a premiere, so I will be in the chat, so I can chat with you guys. Hopefully you enjoy that video. I'm starting to work on it a little bit now, making some motion graphics for it, some intros, things like that. So it's going to be a pretty cool little series. And so far in the month of January, it has been nothing but challenges for me. But I don't want to spoil that for you. I think you'll enjoy the video. And then first Friday night in February, we'll pick up where we are leaving off. So that'll be our 4th episode of our Friday night Fancast. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. And I think possibly that night we may look at an actual map study. And I've been trying to work with some live streaming softwares. So I'm able to bring in a window, and I'm just going to maybe pick some lakes that I'm familiar with back in North Carolina, and just kind of show you maybe how I would approach a lake. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in tonight. Hopefully you have had a good day. Go out, catch some fish tomorrow, and we'll make sure we catch you guys later. Once again, guys, thanks for tuning in to Bass and Pastor.